Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a reading wrap up for November. I actually ended up reading a lot of books in November. I read a total of 12 books. I'm technically 3 books ahead of schedule for my goal for the year, which is 150 books. And I think once I finish the book that I'm like 60% of the way through, I will be at 140 books. That means only 10 books left. I know I can do this. Come on. And I think I will exceed my goal of 150 books. Like, it would be so exciting, right? So if you didn't know, November was nonfiction November. It is a thing that's been going on for 7 years. I talked about it a few videos ago, and it's just encouraging people to read nonfiction books. All that she had to do was read one book for the month of November, and there were some other prompts, but I chose not to do that. And I actually ended up reading a lot more nonfiction than I thought I would. And first, I read Dead Girls by Alice Boleyn. I rated this 3 stars. This was good, but I do feel like I got this confused with a different book, but I also felt like the way that it was kind of displayed, I thought it would be more about something. But this is a mix of personal essays and then commentary on politics and American cultural obsession with dead girls. Now, I liked that aspect of it. That's what I thought the entire book would be about, talking about, so for example, in the book she talks about Twin Peaks. She talks about different books and movies, and then I think some true crime cases that were, everybody became obsessed with them, and then we become obsessed with the dead girl, and she talked about this one, but it's a lot of stuff. So she does get into that topic, but much like someone else on Goodreads commented, I felt like it lasted for such a short period of time that we talked about that. And then it kind of just became more the personal essays about her living and like doing her thing in California, which was fine, but I had a different expectation. And the reason why I got this book in the first place was because it was recommended on Book Talk during the Gabby Petito case. Someone was doing a video of book recommendations about, how toxic the true crime community can be. That is very true. And, America's obsession with that. Obviously, it's a world thing too, but I live in America. We know that that's a pretty big thing here. True crime, the way people treat cases of young, pretty white girls versus women that are not, you know the gist. I think I've spoken about it before. So with that being said, we did touch on it, but it wasn't the whole thing. I don't want to say that I was misled because we did talk about it, but I think it became more about her personal life, which is fine. That's why I gave it 3 stars. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I think if I read this again, I would want to read it again, and I want to be able to go into it with a different mindset. I really don't like saying that. Different mentality approaching the book, if that makes any sense. So yes, Dead Girls by Alice Boleyn was my first nonfiction read of November. Next, I read Anti-Racist Ally by Sophie Williams. This was really great. I talked about this, I think, on a book haul I did. Damn, I don't even know what happened in November. I work in retail, so last week it was Black Friday. I feel like everything has been erased from my mind of what happened in November, and I know I talked about this. Anyway, I loved this. I give it 5 stars. I would absolutely recommend this. It's a kind of pocket guide style book, so it's very, very thin. The thing I like the most about this is that it's very quick and to the point. Now, if you want something that goes more in depth, there's plenty of books out there, but if you want something that's very, quick and to the point, quick and to the point about certain topics, even having the conversation about what does it mean to be anti-racist. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is most of these are just a 1-page conversation, I guess you could say. But I feel like if you're someone who is actively reading stuff and actively trying to be anti-racist, some of this stuff, it's not going to be new to you. Much like the book Pro I've mentioned, it's about women's reproductive rights. I'm someone who actively tries to keep up and learning about that and talking about it. So is it something that was completely new to me, like a new concept? No, but I'm so glad I read it because it's something that I'm passionate about. Same thing here. But it wasn't just talking about anti-racism. We're talking a lot about intersectionality. We talk about the privilege of being able-bodied, being cisgender, all that stuff. So this pocket guide has a lot of information in it. I think that this could be a really great book as a gift for someone in your life that maybe you don't feel like you can have a conversation with them until they are at the same level of understanding as you, or at least at the minimum, like at the minimum understanding for us to have a conversation, if that makes sense. As someone who's had conversations with people and sometimes gone back and forth online with people, I know how frustrating it can be to try to have a conversation about topics like this where you and the person that you're talking to are just not, some people, they haven't even begun to try to learn this stuff. So it's almost like you're teaching them, but how can you teach someone who probably doesn't want to learn? So my opinion is maybe this could be a good place for someone to start. So with that being said, 5 stars, I would recommend. After that, I listened to Unbound by Tarana Burke, and I gave that 5 stars. As an audiobook, it was fantastic. Her voice is beautiful at 2 times speed. Okay, I've said this before. When it comes to an audiobook for me, I listen to it at a very high speed. That's just what I prefer. And this, to the ear, is just so perfect. I'll start off by saying trigger warning, sexual assault, abuse, child and adult abuse. So if that's something that you are concerned about listening to, or you just need to be prepared for that, be prepared, because it is a conversation that she has. She's very vulnerable in this book, and there were a lot of stories that she talked about with her personal life that were very hard to hear. I mean, if I were reading it, I think it still would have been the same feeling, but to hear her say the things that happened to her, I cried in my car at one point, and it was very, very sad. So I really appreciate her vulnerability and everything that she talked about. If you don't know who she is, Me Too movement, she was the start of that. I thought it was really cool. The way that the book starts off is the moment where she woke up and something that she had been working on, the Me Too movement, which started with her making this for Black women and girls to talk about their experiences of sexual assault, to, kind of being, is the word co-opted, or is it just stolen? Maybe stolen, by, the famous white actress, I don't remember, Melissa Milano, I think that was her name, making it a viral hashtag on Twitter. I thought that was a really crazy way to open the book, because you're hearing it from the, the perspective of the person who actually, I created this. And what ends up happening sometimes, or oftentimes, is Black people create something, it gets taken by someone else, and then that person often doesn't get the credit for what they've done. And she put a lot of work into this already. So with that being said, that was a really interesting way to open the book. But yes, if I didn't already say 5 stars, 5 stars. I would absolutely recommend either audio or physical, but I listened to it in audio, and I think it deserves to be listened to because it was just so good. Read it. Next, I read Women Don't Owe You Pretty by Florence Given, and I rated this 5 stars. Now, when I first talked about this, I remember saying I was excited to read it. Very, very pretty looking book, but I was a little nervous that it would be kind of surface level in a way, and I was wrong. It was really, really good. Look, damn, I don't really do this often, and I only do this with nonfiction books, but, I annotated it. That sounds really nice. Anyway, this ended up being really good. I was nervous that we weren't going to be intersectional in our conversation in this book, and I was wrong. Very, 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 very much so. I think Florence Given did a fantastic job with this book. She's also an artist, so a lot of her art is in here, which was really, really, really pretty. Some of the stuff I liked about this book was also that the chapters weren't like super long. I thought that this too was also a book that was kind of quick and to the point, and a lot of the chapters were fantastic. But one of the things that I really liked is this little thing towards the back. Check your privilege. And it's like 3 or 4 pages of little check boxes. So white, race, ethnicity, and cultural privilege, cisgender privilege, male passing privilege, straight privilege, non-disabled privilege, class financial privilege, and just a little, and I didn't do it, but it has little check boxes for you to acknowledge your privilege. And I feel like, even though there's tons of other books that go in depth with stuff like this, this is the kind of book I would say goes in depth that you could read if you wanted some more in-depth conversation, maybe after reading Anti-Racist Ally. Anyway, good. Honestly, really, really good. Did I say 5 stars already? 5 stars. This was lovely to read. It was really interesting to hear about her own personal experience, her coming out, her realizing her skinny privilege, her skinny white, cis privilege, and then all the other conversations that she brought up, I think were very, very good. And like I said, if you were going to give Anti-Racist Ally as a gift, or just read for yourself, and you wanted another book to read, maybe pick this one up just to get a little bit more information in depth about those topics. Next, I owned this book, but I listened to it as an audiobook, and it was Loathe at First Sight by Suzanne Park. This was really good, but I only gave it 2.5, 3 stars. So this is about a woman named Melody. She is an Asian woman, and she is working at a video game company, think Blizzard. And to be honest, it's pretty Blizzard-y if you followed anything that was going on with Blizzard in the news. Anyway, so she's a video game producer. This place that she works is full of harassment, no surprise there. And as a joke, she pitches this idea, and her boss, who is a piece of shit, because he has no better ideas, because he's not creative in any way, and he's very blah, pitches it as the new thing and makes it her responsibility to get this done. So of course, there are the people who are complete pieces of crap who resent her, even though it's not like she pitched this as a serious idea. It's clearly being done to her. So it's almost like she doesn't even have the opportunity to really show what she can do creatively, even though she ends up doing a really good job. The concept is a joke, but in a way it's the complete opposite of what we tend to see in video games. So instead of, big-titted women who have armor that cover their nipples, and that's supposed to protect them from a sword, it's men who are strippers who are supposed to save the world from zombies or something. So obviously, it could be a video game, let's be honest, but people hate it because a woman made it and it's not objectifying women. So who could take that seriously? The reason why I did not rate this very high is because, this is a romance novel. It was in the romance section. That's why I bought it. And I just absolutely loved that title. I absolutely hate the romance. I hated it. I absolutely hated the romance in this. And I almost wish that there hadn't been any love interest at all. I was much more excited to learn about her friends, who are very, very interesting and funny and lovely, and the job, which was horrifying. It was not good what was happening to her, but reading and listening to her overcome it and everything, and all the people that were there to support her, that was so much more interesting than the kind of mediocre love that was going on in the background. And at one point, the love interest that she has with this person, the flirtation that she has with the love interest, I was like, did I miss something? Why is she talking about, oh, Melanie, you can't hook up with so-and-so? And I literally remember thinking and then saying out loud, why are you talking about hooking up with him? Have you guys flirted? You just think that he's good looking. I didn't even know that there was any flirtation going on yet. Like, it was almost like insta love for her. And I couldn't help but think, why? You don't even, and at that point, she didn't even know him. She didn't like him. Anyway, this is a book now that I'm kind of like, should I put this on my unhaul pile? Because I don't think that I will personally pick the physical book up again, since I got to read it on Hoopla. So, I mean, I can read it anytime. But I don't know. I just don't know. But like I said, if this had been about her friend, even if she had been with somebody else, maybe that's the thing too. Like, I just don't like who she ended up with. Either way, Melody as a character, she frustrated me, but at the same time, she was going through it, okay? And I think she, sadly, you hate to say it like this, but she handled it well, even though she's dealing with all of this harassment. And we know how bad it can be in the gaming community in some ways. Same thing in, I mean, I see the comments that happen to people women who say something about Stephen King. Oh God, I don't want to hear it. Don't even get us started about Star Wars. Okay, the fandom there, Lord have mercy. But yeah, I wouldn't not recommend this. Read it if you want to. But if you're a romance reader, I don't know if you would like this if you were someone who was a romance reader, just because I felt like, man, the stuff that she's going through is just so much that it's like, I don't even know, do we have time for love at this point? Anyway, 3 stars, 2.5, 3 stars for this. I'm rambling, so let's just move on to the next book. Next, I read When Night Breaks by Janella Angelis. I gave that 3 stars. So I gave this 3 stars, which is crazy. Like, I'm actually really surprised that I didn't rate it higher, because I really liked When Night Breaks. Not When Night Breaks, Where Dreams Descend. So this is the second book in that duology. And yeah, I got this on NetGalley, and I was really excited about it. And it took me so long to read. I think I got approved for it like a week or 2 before it actually released. And I think that was in October. And then it took me so long to get through it. And there were some parts that I actually just skipped because I thought, oh my God, this is long. And maybe because it had been so long since I read the first book, I forgot that there were acts to it. But anyway, so this second book takes place essentially right where we leave off at the end of the first book. And there's going to be a little bit of spoily situation here. So if you haven't read the first book, go on and skip a little bit, because I'm going to kind of get into what happens at the very beginning. If you haven't read it, I don't want to spoil for you. Maybe I'll put a little thing that says you can listen now. So at the end of the first book, Kalia is taken into the mirrors with Jack. There's chaos in Glorian, and DeMarco is love struck. He is sad, he is hurting, and he does not know what to do with himself now that Callie is gone, because at this point he's lost the woman that he loves, and he also lost his sister the same way. So he's all over the place. This book is honestly, now we're completely in the other world where Kalia is taken to. So you don't spend a lot of time back in Glorian with the people that you probably really liked from the first book, like the circus and everybody, Canary and blah, 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 blah. But it's still like really interesting what's happening in the mirrors, I guess you could say. But yeah, my issue with this was, it was kind of predictable. You meet somebody and you pretty much know right off the bat who they really are. It took me really long to read, and it's really long. Like, I didn't have the physical copy. I read it as an ebook. And I haven't physically picked up, you know, it's released now. So I don't even know how long the book actually is. And maybe the one I got is longer. I don't know if it was edited down at the point that I got approved for it, but it's really, really long. And I think it was a little bit too long. So it is a book that I want to go back and read when I don't know, maybe have some more patience, but I didn't rate it that high compared to the first book. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. Finish the duology because it's really, really good. You still have magic tricks. You still have some stuff going on that you like from the first book. You get to meet new people that you can, you know, come to love. And then the little secret behind what's going on is also really interesting. Although I did kind of feel like something was missing. Like, there is a plot that was not explained that we saw in the first book. I don't feel like they wrapped that up in the second book. I'd have to reread the first book to remember, but I just have this weird feeling that something was missing and that it was important in the first book and we never actually... Oh, should I say it? I'm going to say it and I'm going to do the little thing. So maybe I'm forgetting, and I might be forgetting, but for everybody who read the first book, remember when the magicians were going missing and then randomly magicians' magic was just kind of like disappearing? But they weren't disappearing into the mirrors, by the way. They just, people like DeMarco who were, I can't say that. Okay. But that, people were disappearing from the damn circus. What happened? We don't ever like get any information about that in the second book that I recall. I don't think they answered why that happened. I don't think they answered why any of that happened, where those people went, why they went missing, what was the point. So that was a little weird. But correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe they did talk about that at the end of the first book and I don't remember. I mean, I read it at the end of last year. So, you know, we're coming back up on a year now. That's a very like kind of little thing in the book that, you know, maybe nobody noticed. Maybe I just glimpsed over it. But anyway, I'm rambling again. 3 stars. Give it a try. I'm going to reread it at some point, and I think my thing might be higher. It might stay the same, but we shall see. There you have it. And then next up was The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. I gave this 5 stars. So I just had like this weird feeling. Like, I really just want to pick this up and read it. And maybe the reason why I felt that was because I had like the feeling of I'm going to start unhauling books soon. And I didn't know it yet. And maybe I was like subconsciously thinking, ooh, I need to read this because I don't want to get rid of this, not having read it like some of the books that kind of ended up there. But holy shit, I could not put this book down. This was so freaking good. And I even went into this kind of skim reading only because the characters are 16 and 17 years old. I don't like reading people that are that age personally. I think that this book was so good. Like, I completely forgot that that was the age of the people that we meet, the girls. But basically, this is book 1 in the Deathless series. I don't know if this is a duology or a trilogy, but the next book comes out, I think, early next year, which is really nice. Although I will say, this could have been a standalone with the way it ended. Like, I loved the ending, and I'm going to read the second book, but the way this ended, I was like, oh, well, I'm very happy. I like where we went with this. I could just be happy with this book, to be honest with you. But anyway, a deeply patriarchal society where women and girls are basically abused, obviously. It abuses women and girls who are not pure. And what it means to be pure is your blood runs red. You're probably asking, well, don't all of our blood run red? No! Some of these girls, their blood runs gold. And that means that they are impure and that they are demons. And what usually happens is on their 16th birthday, this is when they get the purity test. They get a cut. You see if their blood runs red or gold. And if it's gold, you're killed. You're killed, tortured, sold off, whatever. They can even sell your blood because it's gold. And our main character, Decca, well, she happens to be one of these young ladies, but she's a little different. She's a little special, not like in a good way for her, kind of, but then not, you know, because she is tortured and it's just never ending. Anyway, she is kind of saved from this prolonged torture that's been going on when they find out that she's a demon, and she's taken with another girl who she finds out is very similar to her, and they're by a woman who, oh, what's she call her? White hands, white gloves, woman who has like white gloves on. And she tells them, we're taking you to like a training ground because you, Aleki, I can't, Aleki or Aleki, you girls are special, you have powers, and we're going to take you to a camp with a bunch of other girls who are just like you, and we're going to train you because we want you to kill death streaks. So enter the other monster in this story. This monster being that has been attacking the human population, and the humans have been trying to kill them. And they've just been around for forever, but nobody knows where they come from, what they are, if they want anything either. They just know that they kill people and then we have to kill them. And I will say this, so the whole like Aleki thing, working for the government, like, I kind of saw where that was going, but I think it was done really, really well. Some of my favorite things about this book is the relationships between the girls, Decca growing and eventually, you know, realizing what is going on and not being these scared, like, oh, I just want to be pure girl that we saw at the very beginning. Oh man, I thought this was really, really great. There's a little bit of love in it too, which I didn't hate. So that was really nice. I did not hate it, because I feel like it's going to be good in the end. That's what I'm really excited about. I'm actually really excited about that. But yeah, the twist, it's kind of predictable, but it's kind of not. I kind of figured it out, but not to that extent. I did not think that it was going like that deep into where it was going. And I thought, ooh, I really like this. This is really, really cool. The women and the girls that you meet are so cool and interesting. Oh my God, the friendships are awesome. The relationships are awesome. And honestly, the magic system, I think you could call it a magic system, is also really cool because every girl is different. Decca being the most different in her ability. Anyway, I loved it. I thought it was really good. So I would absolutely recommend this book. This is one I'm obviously not unhauling. I'm going to keep this because I would love to read this again. Oh man, you know, outcast by blood, warriors by choice. Are we girls? Or are we demons? Are we going to die? Are we going to survive? Like, so many of the moments in this book between the girls was just like intense, but in such a good way. Anyway. Like, I feel like this gave me a combination of women's war and Children of Blood and Bone. Just like a perfect little combination. And I really liked it. I would recommend. Then I read some manga. So I read my first 3 volumes of Soul Eater. Like I said, when I did my haul, I've watched this show. I really liked it. I decided that I want to get into collecting and reading it. So far, so good. I mean, I liked the anime, so I knew I was going to like this. Still looking for volume 4, and literally any volume after these 3, I cannot find them anywhere. So if y'all know anything, let me know, because I cannot find these. I can't find anything in the store that's past this that isn't the hardcover copy of volume 4, which I'm just going to get paperback. But really good. I love this series. Watch the anime. I would absolutely recommend it. And also Fire Force, because it's by the same people. And lastly, much to my husband's joy, I started reading my omnibuses of One Piece. And honestly, I really like it. I really like One Piece. This was the compromise. I will not watch the show. I already did my time with Naruto Shippuden, okay? I already did my time. And that was skipping filler, okay? Because we all know that you can go and you can... You know what the filler is. And I didn't even watch the movies, okay? One Piece is kind of mostly filler, but it's a part of the arc, so it's confusing. Anyway, I loved this. I think it's so fun. It's funny. It's interesting. I cried at one point when we meet Usopp because that shit was sad as hell. But this is good. I actually recently bought 2 more omnibuses. So what I want to do is probably read like the first. So, okay, so if you buy the box set, I think it's volumes 1 through 23 or something. I'll probably, if they have a bunch of omnibuses for, let's just say the first box, if I were to buy a box, I'll probably buy the omnibuses for that. And then if I'm feeling funky, maybe I'll get the box set of the second volume or whatever, volumes 24 through whatever, however many there are. But I'm liking it. I think this is a series that I will actually come to love, and I better, because I already bought some One Piece stuff, so I'm in now. I'm in, and I like it. And there you have it. That is my November wrap up. What did y'all read? Was there anything that I read that you read? Was there any ratings you think were totally off and that I should be just cut off immediately because that was just the wrong rating? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, I think I had a pretty good reading month. I read a lot. I have high hopes for next month. I'm going to be reading some holiday smutty stuff, so I'm really excited about that. There is a readathon that I talked about on Twitter. I think it's called Hoathon or Hothon. I'm not sure. It looks really cool. I might not follow it in terms of the prompts because I'm not really familiar with a lot of smutty erotica. So unless somebody puts their TBR and I just read exactly what they read, I don't have a thing for all of these. But either way, I want to talk about it because it seems really fun. It seems really cool. And I already was planning on reading some Christmassy smutty things because I never have before. So let's spice it up this holiday season. Why not? So yes, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you like it, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm really close to 250 subscribers. We shall see if I can reach the goal because that's my goal for the end of the year. We shall see. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Goodbye.